Good morning, Nigeria, and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Igwebike. We kick off today's morning, a very wet but great morning with our newspapers, and right after that will be our main conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. Have a say in what we say. You can find us when you reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. We're very so honored to have with us, joining us via Zoom, Gbenga Komolafe. He is the General Secretary, Federation of Informal Workers Organization of Nigeria, FIWON, if you want. Good morning to you, Mr. Gbenga Komolafe.
Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, sir, for your time. And I would love that we start with the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. And we have the big story. Parties, the president shouldn't appoint INEC. And on the top strip, we have other interesting stories. Senate to debate genocide claim against Christians in Nigeria. And we equally have other matters. Tinubu orders a reduction of 2026 Hajj affair, and 2027 court asks to stop Jonathan from contesting. I would love us to start with the issue of president shouldn't appoint INEC chairman. According to the Constitution 1999 as amended, the president is given the right to appoint or nominate who becomes the INEC chairman upon the verification of the Senate. But a situation where the president is party to the election or is equally a candidate to the election, do you think it makes any sense that he is there to appoint who becomes the referee when we believe the referee would work in his favor?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you have actually, in a way, answered the question. It is absolutely unfair for the president, who actually is a party in a major interested party in the elections, to also be the one that will appoint the election umpire. One would have expected a more level playing ground that will allow for a process that will allow a little bit impartial, that will be responsible for the selection and appointment of INEC chairman, who is a very critical person in election administration in Nigeria. It's one of those anomalies in the Constitution, I think, that people have had to complain about. And given the history of partisan elections in Nigeria, I think I will agree with the sentiment that it is time that element in the Constitution be amended such that we have a more level playing ground and have a more a little bit impartial process for the selection of the election.
All right, but let's look into another growing concern here. But I would love to, just before I move on to another question, do you think the type of politics we play in Nigeria, especially that by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is riddled in what he said, grab it, take it and run with it, when he was addressing a team of his loyalists in London, do you think such kind of political participation would even give President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the moral to want to hear what people are talking about with respect to him not appointing who the INEC chairman is?
I mean, we will expect that, just like you said, given the history of electoral processes in Nigeria, which have been marked by all manner of practices, violence, and outright election rigging, we have expected that the umpire of INEC will come up through a much more costly partial process. the history itself bears out the concerns that have been expressed by various parties about the same president that have been alleged or have been party to widespread election malpractices, to also be the one that will still have to appoint the primary election umpire. I think it's a sentiment that is well grounded. It's a concern that is well grounded in our experience and history of electioneering in Nigeria.
All right, but let's move on to another electioneering issue here. 2027, court asked to stop Jonathan, that's Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, from contesting. I do not know, what's your submission on this? People are saying that if he is given the opportunity to contest, which means that possibly he would have to serve 3 terms. I do not know, do you believe that? Knowing that he completed 2 terms of his boss who died in the course, served 1 term, and is interested to go for yet another term. Do you think that is, if compiled together, is serving a president given the opportunity for 3 terms? Do you think it makes any sense?
I'm not sure Jonathan has served 2 terms. I'm not a lawyer, but I think the first time he actually served out the late President Umar Yar'Adua's term in office. We all remember President Umar Yar'Adua died without completing his term of office, and Jonathan Jerry had to step in
as the president.
President Umar Yar'Adua term as president. Yes. And then later contested on his own merit. So I would think that it would be unfair to say President Jonathan has served out 2 terms already. I think he served a term as president of Nigeria, as elected by Nigerians to that position. Why he served out, he had to serve out, I think, for about 2 years.
Yes.
The President Umar Yar'Adua presidency. So as far as I know, I think President Jonathan has served only 1 term in office. And so should ordinarily be eligible to contest for the 2nd term. But the matter has been taken to court, and I think the court should, all the interested parties should have their court. We all wait to see what the court will have to say. But I would say that I also wonder why President Jonathan wants to come back. Why are doing that? It's within his rights to want to come back to contest for 2nd term. I personally do not know why he wants to come back, because he had all the time. He had a cumulative period of over 6 years to make whatever statement he wants to make as president, whatever contribution he wanted to make as president, and rather we had a rather lackluster tenure, which for many Nigerians was not particularly very inspiring. So given that record in office, I don't know, maybe, and even now, it's not even saying anything new. It's not coming out with a message that gives hope, that inspires, that he actually has something different to do, has something different on his sleeves that has to offer Nigerians. So, given all that context, why granted I have his right to contest, I do not know whether President Goodluck actually is the kind of president we have for this moment.
All right, let's move on to the Guardian newspaper for today. Big story here on the front page. Student loan. NEL fund kicks as in institutions hike tuition fees charges for profit. And another growing interesting matter here is United States pressure triggers federal government and the Senate push back on alleged Christian persecution. I would love us to take on this particular matter alleged by the U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, who had alleged that Christian community are being slowly killed and massacred in different parts of the country. I would love to have your take on this. Those and within the confines of the presidency have come to deny this. But as a Nigerian, like I do, living in Nigeria, do you think what Ted Cruz and other senators in the U.S. are saying should be taken home, or should we blame the presidency for not doing what is needful at this point?
Well, I think Senator Ted Cruz has a right to be concerned. We all
All right. I think we're having a network issue there, and Mr. Bringa Komalafe was speaking to the issue alleged by Ted Cruz and other senators. All right, he's back. Thank you so very much for being back. Yeah, we lost you a bit. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just saying that we know, Senator Ted Cruz anticipated as an evangelical Christian activist. I think within that context, we understand why we will be concerned that Christians are persecuted in Nigeria or in any part of the world. But I'm not really sure that the killings we are having, the violence we are having in Nigeria, all over Nigeria now, is specifically directed at Christians. Of course, historically, we've had clashes, religious clashes in Nigeria. But the latest rounds of violence, banditry, irredentism we have all over the country, particularly in northern parts of the country, is specifically directed at Christians. We've had occasions where Muslims have also been targeted. We've had occasions where mosques have been bombed, Muslims have been killed in recent past. We've had occasions where both Muslims and Christians have been kidnapped. I think Senator Ted Cruz should be generally, any outsider for that matter, should be generally concerned about the widespread violence that has involved in the Nigerian landscape and that has affected both Christian and Muslim communities over the past few decades now. It has been said that the federal government has not done enough. It has been alleged even by security experts that the Nigerian government has evidence, have dossiers of the sponsors of this violence and has refused to act accordingly. I think that should be what is of serious concern to everyone, including our foreign friends. Yes, sometimes the violence also takes sectarian religious nature, where we see Christian communities, especially in the Northeast, targeted for killing and kidnapping. But like I said earlier, the violence has been evenly distributed. Perhaps it might be more correct to talk of the headed clashes, where we've had occasions where headers, in quotes, harmed headers have attacked communities, and I don't think that's particularly religious. Such attacks are of religious nature. They attack communities and kidnap everyone, kill whoever is on their path, whether Christian or Muslim. I would be cautious for a foreign figure like Ted Cruz to give religious only religious connotation to the violence we have in Nigeria, because it might actually aggravate climate feelings and people might start seeing that kind of intervention as validation of sectarian claims. I think the focus really should be on how we end this specter of relentless violence all over Nigeria, whether it's Christian, Muslim, whether it's herder, farmers, whether it's just sheer banditry, like we have particularly in the Northwest and even in the South. I think what should be of concern is that government has and is seen to act to bring the perpetrators responsible for this violence to book.
But don't you think it's a shame? Don't you think it's a shame that it took the intervention of a senator miles away, hundreds of miles away from Nigeria, to speak up before the 10th Assembly, as led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, to want to do something about it? Unfortunately, while the 10th Assembly should be talking about things like this, they were busy debating on Natasha and so many other issues that have no significance to the Nigerian public. So the question is, like I said before, don't you think it's a big shame on the 10th Assembly that it took the speaking up from a senator outside of the country to get their attention to do something about the growing issue of insecurity in the fatherland?
We're talking about shame. I think there are quite a lot of things happening in our National Assembly that a lot of people find extremely shameful, if I'm to quote your words. Beyond the certain committee after TheCable has made a statement, of course it's shameful, but we have had much more shameful acts of gross insensitivity and absolute lack of leadership at the level of the National Assembly. Like I made the point earlier, it is a given fact. And I want to make reference to statements from the likes of Commodore Adewumi, retired, came out on national TV with the claim that as a national security operative, while in service under President Jonathan, they had comprehensive such a tragedy that so many years after, nothing has been done to bring these people to book. Nothing has been done to actually act on the intelligence that they made available to government. For me, that's really great shame. Of course, the shenanigans and Natasha and so on and so forth has been a subject of national gross entertainment. It's also something that would every decent Nigerian will find extremely disturbing. The amount of energy, the time, the quality time that's devoted to address the sitting arrangement of the senator, whether it should be seated and whether it should be suspended or not, so on and so forth. It's absolutely repulsive, to say the least. Shame perhaps is only a very mild word to use. We don't want to go for that.
You don't want to sound defamatory.
But just let me use this opportunity to appeal to the federal government that they should act on information already made available to them and bring the sponsors and perpetrators of this relentless violence all over the country.
Beautiful. In 60 seconds, if we may, let's just take our last story. A student loan. NEL fund kicks as institutions hike tuition fees, charges for a profit. What's your take on this handout that is becoming regular with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Most of the people who are given this advice are people who profited from subsidized education. I went to university in the late 90s when it was easier to pay, and every parent could readily pay for university fees and accommodation. And when it is time for some of these people who profited from the 70s, the 80s and the 90s to ensure that our children and our children's children benefit from their own institutional correctness, they rather make it even worse. Do you think that giving loans to students is the best bet at a time like this, when the world is giving subsidies to their students in different parts?
Thank you. I think this is one of the most outrageous policies of this country. To want to introduce student loans. I mean, the entire philosophy behind it, the entire reason is absolutely faulty. First of all, we have a situation where graduates are not short of jobs after graduation. You are not even sure you are able to get a job. Meanwhile, the government is making it possible, or rather is making access to education possible or predicated on students are able to access loans or education credit. And at the end of which you are not sure of a job. And so, I'm sure they borrowed this idea from the US.
Yes.
And I know that even in the US, you have vast avenues for scholarships. And it's only it might not a percentage of the students that have to actually pay. You know, if you can't get scholarships one way or the other, then of course you have to pay fees and you can take loan. And typically, we know that that's a system that runs on credit anyway. You know, and by the time you are graduating, you are assured of a job, of a decent job, and of a planned period or repayment of the loans you know, taking for education. And you want to adopt that kind of system in a situation where any capacity of your Nigerian president has been eroded by relentless, regressive economic policies that we have had. Even before President Tinubu came on board, we've had all manner of terrible economic policies. We've had gross underfunding of the educational sector. Infrastructures have decayed. Successive government have refused to invest in education, and rather have been promoting the proliferation of private universities, some of which, from evidence available to us, are just running what I would call ramshackle, education to Nigerian youth, and charging whatever fees they like, because government itself had completely abdicated its responsibility to make education affordable and accessible to as many young Nigerians as are interested in pursuing higher education. So NEL fund is an aggravation of a very terrible situation that is coming at a very depressed economic environment. At a level where the national currency is having devalued by over 400% in the space of less than 2 years. Economic factors like fuel pricing and so on has become unaffordable to most Nigerians, and productive capacity have been severely circumscribed by this kind of policies. Now you bring education credit. First of all, we show that after graduation, they are going to even get the jobs. And now we have a situation where what they have to offer as credit is becoming grossly inadequate to cope with the relentless fee hike by the institutions. So, so even if you want to take the loans, it does nothing to help you to actually pay the fees. So what's the point? The truth is that Nigerian government and Nigerians should wake up. Nigerian government should prevail upon to actually make education accessible, to increase funding for education, and to start distracting us with all these ideas of having education credit, of having students take jobs, and so on and so forth. Let there be more serious funding for education, to revamp the sector, to employ more quality staff, make inputs more available, and then rebuild the physical infrastructures for more conducive learning environment. We have situations in a lot of institutions right now where hundreds of students have to, listen to lectures with dilapidated infrastructure. Some will sit on the window, some will hang outside the lecture rooms, and so on and so forth. And that's what people are being made to take loans to pay for. I think it's time that Nigerians should awake, to actually demand greater accountability and better sensitivity and responsiveness to the needs of Nigerian people. The way the Nigerian government is treating young people particularly is abysmal. It's so sad because as it were, it's like they think young people have lost their voice, they have lost the muscle to resist regressive, retrogressive policies. And so they take the Nigerians right roughshod on them. It's so sad. I will appeal to Nigerians to wake up and make the right kind of demands on the Nigerian government to wake up to its responsibilities to provide functional, accessible, and affordable education for Nigerian youth.
Thank you so very much. It's awesome that you said all of this, because while we'll grapple with our laxity and our lack of contribution to our educational system, little countries like Ghana are making about $1.2 billion from Nigerians who are going to public schools in Ghana to study. Imagine that money plunged back to the country. That would have done a lot, but of course, the government of the day are not ready. And that is why we have issues like this. Just to let you know, people, that Mr. Gbenga Komolafe will still be here to take us on our main conversation in a bit. That is when we return. PENGASSAN sacks NGIC, NGML leaders for botched strike action against Dangote. In a bit, still Enterprise Morning. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.